You belong on every ground your feet grace, so don't ever feel out of place. Take up space and belong. This earth is your birthplace. Hey loves, welcome back to the Sensual Genius channel. In this video, I'm going to do a review on Night Teeth, which is a horror movie. This is the first movie I think that's not romance that I'm editing, because I did one called Heat Wave, and it kind of was like a murder mystery type of vibe, a thriller, whatever, but there was still romance in it. However, I don't think this has romance in it at all. But uh Night Teeth is starring Debbie Ryan, Sydney Sweeney, Lucy Fry, Megan Fox, George Lindeborg Jr., Alfie Allen, and Ash Santos. It starts off with Maria at the laundromat. Jay, her boyfriend, walks up on her and he scares her. They kiss. She gets in the car with him, and as they're driving, a car rides up behind them, and Jay looks in the mirror and says, "He shouldn't be over here." Maria is confused, like, who is he and what are you talking about? The car pulls beside them, and Jay grabs his gun out of the glove compartment. Maria is scared, so she tells him to drive off. Like, what are you doing? Drive off. He does, and the car chases them to a warehouse. Jay gets out of the car and goes inside. Before that, he tells Maria to take his car and go home. When he goes in the building, everyone is dead, so he goes back outside after he hears a scream and Maria is gone. Whoever took her ripped the door off the hinges. In the next scene, it goes to Benny, the main character, Benny, skating around his neighborhood, because that little section about Jay and Maria was like the beginning. It's kind of was like something that happened in the beginning, kind of like a foreshadowing, the beginning of the story. I mean, kind of like a prologue to a book, like some information that you need to know before you start reading the story. So yeah. So it goes to Benny skating around his neighborhood selling music that he doesn't have. Like, he's just selling music that he doesn't have, he doesn't own, or whatever. Then he goes home to his grandmother. He talks to her about how he's going to buy him a house one day. They seem to have a loving relationship. Benny is in college and he's an artist. Like, he's a rapper, if I'm not mistaken. He goes to his brother Jay's room and overhears him talking about Maria. So Jay is Benny's brother. He tries to convince him to spend time with him. Benny tries to convince Jay to spend time with him and to let him drive his car to make some money, but he tells him no, because he I think he wants to do like Uber or whatever to make some money in his car or whatever, but Jay tells him no. Benny is suspicious of Jay, and he's like, "What are you planning to do? Like, what you got going on? You acting weird. Like, what you planning to do?" Jay ends up giving Benny his car so he can drive people around pretending to be Jay, because I think Jay is a driver, and uh people pay for him to drive them different places. So Benny was trying to do the same thing, and he wanted Jay to let him use his car. At first, Jay told him no, but to kind of get him off of his back and out of the way, he ends up giving him his car. Benny tells Jay to be careful because he can tell something is up. He can tell that something is going on with him or whatever. So he like, be careful. Like, whatever you got going on, wherever you're doing, be careful. Because even though he kind of shooed him off by giving him the car, he still like, he gets it. He peeps game, and he like, something going on, because he did this too easy. Okay, Benny goes to his first client's house, which is Blair, played by Debbie Ryan, and he is awestruck by her beauty. He's nervous, so he isn't making a good first impression. Like, he's fumbling, like when he talks and stuff like that. He's like being clumsy, like making little mistakes, not playing it cool and stuff, because he's nervous because she's beautiful. He opens the door for Blair to get out of the car and tries to make conversation as they wait for Eva to come out. Because Blair and Eva, he's picking both of them up, but Blair ends up coming out before Eva. So he gets out and opens the door. While he's doing that, he's trying to make conversation with her or whatever because he believes she's beautiful and he kind of want to, feel her out. So when Eva comes out, he gets back out of the car to escort Eva in, but she doesn't accept his help. They realize he doesn't know what he's doing. Like, this is not your job. Like, you're not the guy that we hired or whatever. Eva tells him that they want to go to all the parties they plan to hit up that night, and she needed to be at the last step by morning. So they kind of have an itinerary of all of the parties they want to go to, and they want him to drive them to each of those parties. And she kind of has a time frame in which she wants to be home. They ask him what he would do if he knew tonight was his last night on Earth, and he tells them he would have a normal chill day. Like, I wouldn't really do nothing different. I would just chill. He's not with the games they were trying to play with him. He finds them weird. Like, something is wrong with y'all. Like, they ask him a bunch of like weird questions and stuff like that. So he finds them kind of weird. They get out at the first party, and Benny has his eyes on Blair. Then it goes to Jay, who's meeting with this guy to discuss some type of war between the gangs, and he tells him that their enemies took Maria. So they're preparing to kill Victor, who is played by Alfie Allen. So Jay is in a gang. That's and also Maria disappeared. That's why he was acting weird, and that's what Jay, when Jay notices that he was acting weird, that's why, because he's trying to get her back, and he thinks that it was a rival gang who took her. So he's trying to like round up the troops to let's go find Maria. Benny is sitting outside of the house where the party is, and he hears a scream, so he gets out. He ends up stepping on a jewel, and he picks it up off the ground. He notices a van watching him and the house. The girls come out and gets back in the car so they can go to the next party. Benny calls Jay to tell him that he thinks something weird is going on with the two girls. Then he goes through their bags and finds a lot of money. He also sees blood on the money and is startled by a police siren. He hides as the police search random cars in the parking garage. The police sees him as he's running in the building. The inside of the building is nice. He goes to the receptionist's desk, and at first she turns him away until she sees the jewel he picked up earlier. He gives her the girl's name, and she escorts him to where they are. He tells them about Blair and Eva. Benny walks in on Blair and Eva feeding on someone, and they find out that he's not Jay. So he walks in on them, because I think this is vampires. He walks in on them drinking somebody's blood, and in the midst of the conversation that they have, they find out that he's not Jay. Like, he's pretending to be Jay because Jay has something to do. Jay is occupied with finding Maria, and Benny wants to make money, so they trade. Eva wants to kill him, but Blair convinces her that they can use Benny to get to Jay. He runs when he sees they're about to kill a guy, but the cop is still in the garage. He tries to tell the officer, but he gets racially profiled because he's Afro-Latino. The cop handcuffs him and tries to put him in the trunk, but the girls intervene. The cop threatens to kill Victor on them, but they talk the cop out of it, and they get Benny from the cop. So it seems like the cop kind of knows what's going on, because to threaten them to call Victor, because to tell them that he's gonna call Victor on them means that he obviously knows kind of what's going on, but maybe he's not directly involved, if that makes sense. Eva breaks Benny's phone so he won't be able to communicate with nobody. In the next scene, Victor is shown at what looks like a blood bank with humans hooked to IVs. Benny tries to escape but fails. Victor shows up at Grace's place against their wishes, and they talk to him about the war he started with Jay. They reprimand Victor, but he ends up threatening and killing the two women who were supposed to be over him. So it was these two women that shows up, and he's at well, I think Grace is one of the women whose place he goes to Grace's place without being invited there. And they talk to him about the war he started with Jay. So Victor definitely started the war with Jay, but I don't know if Jay knows or if Jay is a vampire or he knows about the vampires or whatever. Or maybe it'll say later on. So let me keep going. They reprimand Victor, but he ends up threatening and killing them. And, they were supposed to be over him. Benny and Blair has a conversation about what's going on, and she informs him that the humans and vampires are at war. So yeah, Jay is on the human side, and I think he does know about vampires, if I'm not mistaken. He keeping it a secret though, and he thinks that they killed Maria. She tells him Victor and Zoe are taking out the boss vampires and that Jay is pretty much a vampire hunter. Victor wants him dead because he's a threat to them. They're trying to get him to tell them where Jay is, but he won't. Victor tells them to use Benny to lure Jay out. Meanwhile, Jay is following Victor's trail. Like, it's switching back and forth. So in the next scene, Blair kisses Benny to stunt in front of his classmates for picking at him. Because his classmates are picking at him, so she kisses him or whatever to make him look good. Jay pulls up at the same club as Benny and the girls, and they get into a fight with the owner. And he gets into a fight with the owner. Benny intervenes so they can get away. More vampire hunters shoot at them as they drive off. Benny takes the girls to his house and introduced them to his grandma, which was crazy. Jay and his partner gets pulled over by the same cop that harassed Benny, so the cop is involved. He tells them that Victor wants to see Jay. Jay and Victor finally meet, and Victor tries to make a deal. Benny takes Blair and Eva to their last kill spot. Benny and Blair kiss as they wait for Eva to wrap things up with her last kill. As they're leaving, the other vampire hunters shoot at them, but Benny helps them get away. Zoe gets shot though. Before Benny finds Jay in the human blood bank at Victor's house, but before he could break them out, Victor finds him. They fight, and Benny kills Eva by crashing the car into the house, and Jay kills Victor by sunlight. But before he did that, Victor bit Benny. It ended with Benny turning into a vampire and riding off with Blair after running into his classmates again. He left Jay the money he found in the girl's bag, like as a gift or whatever. So he ends up riding out into the sunset with Blair because now he's a vampire, and it kind of like is like either causes tension or makes Jay want to resolve the beef that he has with the vampires or whatever. But he kills the head people, so maybe the vampire gang will disband or whatever. But it just ended with him getting the money and Benny riding off into the sunset with Blair, or not the sunset because they're vampires. But y'all know what I'm trying to say. I kind of feel like it kind of ends like there could be a part 2, but I doubt it. I wish the ending. I kind of wish they wrapped it up with like letting us know if the war stopped or whatever, but it's cool. The movie was pretty good though. I rated a 9 out of 10. I watched it a long time ago, so I can't remember exactly what happened, but as I'm reading my notes, I see the visual of the movie as I'm reading it or whatever, especially the part where they were at Victor's house and they were fighting him or whatever, and Benny crashes the car into the house and it brought the sunlight into the house or whatever, and Eva ends up getting killed and Jay kills Victor by pushing him in the sunlight, but that was after he bit Benny or whatever. Um and the reason why Blair doesn't get killed, because she kind of was like unproblematic. She was still killing people, so she deserves to die too. But because Benny had feelings for her or whatever, he didn't. And now that he's a vampire, he needs to be around other vampires. And it's kind of ironic because his brother is a vampire hunter. He ends up becoming a vampire, so it's kind of like, will Jay start hunting him or what? Like, I kind of wish that it ended with like some closure, because I don't know if it's gonna come back. I can't remember when it came out, but I don't know if it's gonna come back. But it was a pretty good movie all in all. I do think it's worth watching if you like horror movies. I am a big horror fan. I think horror is my favorite genre. I really love horror movies. But I think it's worth watching. It's not like really horror, like really scary. It's kind of like Disney horror, if that makes sense. But I still think it's worth watching. If you guys have seen it, let me know what you think about it. And if you watch it after seeing this video, come back and let me know what you think about it. Let's have a conversation in the comment section. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you for coming back to my channel and watching this video. Bye. Before you go, check out my website at srgrahamwrites.org and subscribe to my mailing list to get exclusive updates on works in progress, other news, and blog posts. Thank you.